My 23 female family lives in my grandparents' house just outside the city on some acreage. My dad works out of town, and my mom liked having the help with me and helping out her folks. My mom passed away from cancer about 12 years ago. My dad still had to work, so I just kept living with my grandparents. My dad always spent time with me when he was home. I wish my mom hadn't passed, but I had a pretty good life. When he was home, he would stay in their old room or we would go on vacations. My grandparents both passed away over the last couple of years. My mom was an only child and so was I. My mom's life insurance went to my dad, who used it to help renovate the house. My grandparents never charged him rent. Sorry, I realized how confusing this is. Anyways, I'm the only person in my grandmother's will, so I got the money and the house, and my grandpa struck. My dad started dating a couple of years after my mom passed away. He never brought anyone to the house until this last one. She's young but pretty. She also has 2 young kids. He talked to me about it and asked if they could move in. It's a big house and I had a large area to myself, so I agreed. So she's been living with me for about 6 months. Now, she just got pregnant. My dad asked her to marry him. I'm happy for him as he's a great dad. He's crap at communicating though. My stepmom-to-be has started in on me about when I'm going to move out since they will need my room for the baby. I guess she wants her mom to come live with her and help. My dad never told me the house is mine. So my dad came home last weekend, and we had a long talk. The stepkids have been sharing my grandparents' old room. I have my room with a big closet, an ensuite my dad put in, and he has the other big bedroom with an ensuite. She wants me to move to the city while I finish my education. She offered me her apartment at a discount. I waited for my dad to tell her. He didn't, so I did. I told her it was my house and I was not giving up my room. I also said that my dad had a fair amount of savings, and could probably buy them a house, especially if they sold her apartment and used it for a down payment. Now, I'm the idiot for making him use the money he was planning on for his retirement, and she doesn't want to sell her apartment because the market will keep going up and she wants to build equity. I made it clear that they should move before the baby came. Am I the idiot? Well, too bad. Don't get with a woman so much younger than you if you are not ready to pick up the tab for your future children and such because you wanna save for your retirement. Overall, it seems like his new baby mama thought he was older and wealthier, so she could get more out of him, but this whole thing fell flat when she noticed that he didn't own the house. And the goal to kick you out, but then offer her old living arrangements a discount. Nope. You are not the idiot op. Oh, boy. It looks like your dad has picked real sweetheart. Even not knowing the house was yours, trying to get you to move out to make way for her baby, presumably without talking to your dad first, is an idiot move for sure. So is wanting him to buy a house, but not being willing to sell her place to contribute. And if he doesn't have the nerve to stand up to her, as he doesn't, it sounds like he's in for a treat. None of that is your problem, of course. Your dad is an adult, responsible for his own decisions. You didn't kick them out onto the street with no options. Look at it this way, she wanted a place without you in it and now, she can have one. Problem solved. They could make some sacrifices and have a comfortable living situation. Your stepmother and your father are trying to push you out of your own house where you have allowed them and the children to live rent-free. Talk to an attorney immediately. Getting rid of them illegally may be much harder than you realize. In many jurisdictions, a visitor can become a legal tenant, regardless of whether they pay you any rent in a month or even less. I'm a single dad of 2 girls, both very young. They go to the same school, and their mom and I take turns in picking them up and dropping them off at school. Their mom started dating this guy, Sean, exactly 4 months ago. He's moved in already, and he's living with the girls as well at their mom's place. I got a call from their mom the other day, asking me for my approval to put Sean on the girls' school emergency contact list. I laughed at first thinking, are you serious? What should I do that for? She got angry and said, well, he bought a new car. I asked what this had to do with it. She explained that she had started working more and may not be available in case of an emergency, and want Sean to be able to act on her behalf, if and when something happens. I said that if and when something happens, God forbid, then the last person I want acting in emergency is her boyfriend of 4 months. I called her delusional. I told her that she shouldn't put work over an emergency, basically, her daughter's safety for goodness sake. She got angrier and called me unhinged, jealous, uncooperative, and nasty, and said that I clearly didn't have the girl's best interest at heart. I hung up, but she kept calling, and then had her mom tell me to do it and stop being petty just because I don't like the guy, who by the way, is the girl's future stepdad. I've been getting a heat from in-laws because of my refusal, which makes me wanna reconsider, but I don't know, and I don't feel comfortable with this request. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. A boyfriend of barely 4 months moving into a household with 2 very young girls would set all my warning bells off. All of the statistics and averages about their safety would tell me to legally intervene in this new setup, as in revisiting custody, but the very least I'd have a background check done, but that's me. He might be a decent human being, but the mom is definitely not thinking critically. No way would I want this guy to have emergency pickup rights legitimately. He might become their stepfather in the future, but currently, he's just a boyfriend of an insignificant time frame who moved in very quickly. He's already called the future stepfather. I mean, the guy could be the best thing since sliced bread, but 4 months? 4 months? Don't most family therapists and child psychologists recommend delaying introductions until a good 6 months or so? Yeah. I'm sorry, but other arrangements for emergencies can be made. Why do people insist on getting the whole damn family involved in things like this? Since when is it appropriate for the entire family to call and text and give someone crap for an argument they're having with the spouse or ex? At 4 months, the kids shouldn't have met this guy, let alone be living with him or having him on the emergency contact list. I'd do a background check on this guy to put my mind at ease. I'm a female teen. My mom and dad divorced when I was a baby, so I spent most of my time with my mom and every other weekend with my dad. In elementary, middle school, I attended an art class hosted by Mrs. Annie on Saturdays. In 4th grade, I asked my dad if I could go on his weekends too, and he told me that if I wanted to go on his weekends, then I would need to cover both the cost of each lesson, $12 for 4 hours, plus $5 to contribute towards the direct TV recording feature since he had to miss his TV shows to take me. I could go 3 times on his days using the money I'd saved from the holidays. Finally, I told my mom that I was sad because I didn't have any more money left to be able to go to Mrs. Annie's on Dad's weekend. My mom didn't realize Dad was making me pay for my lessons and flipped out at him. From then on, she would pick me up on his Saturdays for art class. Since I got into high school, we haven't had time to go to Mrs. Annie's, but I still do art and go to online lessons whenever I can. Dad had a party at the house with a bunch of people from his work. I thanked him for dinner. He said he wanted me to stay at the table and talk to his work friends, but I told him I needed to finish a school project and went to my room. Later, one of Dad's work friends came up to me while I was refilling my water bottle in the kitchen, and told me that I should have done what my dad wanted me to. I should have more gratitude towards my dad because on top of raising and supporting me, he's the reason why I'm a fantastic artist. Dad showed his work friends my art, and said that I was a fantastic artist because of him, and all the expensive art lessons that he paid for. I told the work friend that my dad had never paid for any of my art lessons, and how when I was a 4th grader, he refused to take me to art lessons unless I paid the $12 fee myself, and gave him $5 to contribute to the direct TV recording feature. His friend apologized for the misunderstanding, and I forgot about it until Dad started lecturing me last week. The work friend told all the other CO workers that Dad never paid for my art lessons and tried making me pay for them. Some of his CO workers now only talk to him for business reasons, but most of them are making fun of him and saying stuff like, "That's so expensive, but we can have Op save up her lunch money to cover it, right, Daniel?" My dad, my grandma and Dad's girlfriend agree with Dad because I'm not owed art lessons, and being bitter about it is no reason to try and mess up his work reputation with what I said. My mom and stepdad said that I did nothing wrong and Daniel shouldn't have told lies in the first place. My sister Tora said my dad deserved to be embarrassed anyway. Dad hasn't talked to Dad in a long time. So now, I'm conflicted about if I should have said what I did to Dad's work friend. Not the idiot. You aren't owed art classes. Sure. He didn't need to provide them as much as that sucks, and we all wish every kid could get the extra enrichment they want, but your dad doesn't get state credit for your work, especially if he didn't support you in the process of getting there. He doesn't get to take credit for providing you with something that he didn't actually provide you with. Dad's a cheapskate, a crappy parent, and a liar, so why should you be trying to maintain his reputation? You didn't lie, you just told the sad truth. Dad should have kept his mouth shut instead of getting braggy. Also, I just want to say work friends got an inflated sense of ego to come up to you and tell you that you should be a better, more grateful kid to your dad. No, honey. I'm proud of all you've accomplished, but the credit is not his to take. You wouldn't go to a bakery, buy a cake, and then brag that you're the reason that cake is good. There are people who have kids that make me wonder if they even like their own children. Making a 9-year-old pay towards your TV bill, really? And $5 doesn't even cover it, so it's like he was doing it to make it more painful on purpose for his own child. There was no responsibility lesson taught here, just a straight-up idiot move. I'm so confused here. I can't decide if I'm setting a reasonable boundary or being a cold-hearted witch. My brother and I have never gotten along. We have very different values. I'm 5 years older than my brother. I work a blue-collar job as does my husband. We have one toddler. My brother is an entrepreneur who bounces from project to project. When he was 23, he married his wife. I was engaged at the time, but my now husband wasn't invited. I barely knew this woman then, so I didn't care. I was just there for appearances. Over the years, I've seen this woman only at family gatherings. She was never hostile to me, but we had nothing in common and never had any great interactions. My parents told me about the divorce and I didn't have much of a reaction. Then, she reached out to me and told me that they had no money. This doesn't surprise me. She told me my brother ruined her life, and she needed help financially and with childcare. I told her I was sorry, that I was willing to have my nephews and niece visit me, but I wasn't gonna give her money and didn't want to continue to have a relationship with her, not that we ever really had one. She told me that women support other women. My brother ruined her life, and I needed to help her. She said a lot of stuff, about gender and my family and a ton of other stuff, but I just don't care. I have my own life and family. Does that make me cold? Am I an idiot? Not the idiot. You don't reach out to someone you only see at family functions for money. Your brother ruined her life, you didn't. I'm sure she must be desperate, but that doesn't mean you're obligated to throw money her way. She's in financial trouble, then she needs to speak to your brother, not you. Funny how people only want a relationship with you when they want something. Be there for your nibblings, but be wary of her. Seems like she's ready to leech. Also, the fact that she included choice words for your family while asking you to help is vile and a huge red flag. I get venting about him, but the rest is uncalled for. It's not just money either, it's childcare. How or what are you supposed to do there if you and your husband both work? Is she expecting you to babysit or pay her childcare costs? Either way, that's not your responsibility. She can bring your brother to court for child support if he's not helping, but you have no obligation just to give her money ever. Good luck, because this seems like it's only gonna get worse. If she keeps harassing you, consider blocking her. Around 3 months ago, I, 25 female, married my husband, 27. I've been hearing about this from my in-laws non-stop. My husband has a younger sister, Alice, 22, who in my opinion, is a total brat. Alice had some type of childhood sickness, but she overcame it. However, his parents were very lenient with her to the point where she couldn't be corrected in any form without it being a big deal. She was let go from multiple jobs because of this and she doesn't have many friends and always has to be the center of attention. So on my other sister-in-law's birthday, their parents got Alice a gift just in case she got jealous. I'm an only child and my only sisterly figure has to be my best friend Marie. We met in 3rd grade and since we're only children, we instantly clicked. We are fiercely protective of each other. My husband and I decided to have a summer wedding, and to my surprise, Alice showed up wearing a lacy white dress. I would have believed you if you told me she picked this out of a wedding catalog. Between the wedding and the main reception, we had a cocktail hour. People kept asking me about Alice, and I was becoming visually annoyed. So many people thought she was my husband's ex instead of his sister. I could tell the situation was making Marie angry, and I watched Marie walk over to my husband's family, greet them, and on her way back, she tripped and fell by Alice while holding a glass full of red wine. Alice ran to the bathroom with mother-in-law following her, and father-in-law came up to us and started to demand that Marie leave. I told him no. Marie is a lightweight, and it was a mistake. My husband backed me up and said that since Marie is thin, she can't handle as much alcohol, but we'd make sure she sobered up before the reception. At the reception, Alice was wearing a beautiful green dress, and Marie magically felt better. My in-laws have been bringing up the incident non-stop, but I have difficulty feeling bad even though I know it wasn't an accident. Not the idiot, and your best friend is awesome. This is what it's about. Do not feel bad or guilty at all. Your in-laws need to quit coddling the brat that they created, and they need to quit being so childish to still bring this up. You should tell them to grow up and move on. You'd ask to your hubby for backing you up. Another way this could have gone is, Hubs could have confronted his sister and told her she needed to change. I understand why he wouldn't wanna do that, but it would have gone a long way in proving to his wife that he has her back and won't allow his family to mistreat her, that they're a team. He probably knew his sister would throw a hissy fit in front of everyone and didn't want his wedding day ruined by it. Your in-laws created a monster, and your friend was just fixing the white dress issue. Everyone knows you don't wear a white dress to a wedding. Clearly, they had a backup dress, so what's the problem? Also, if she ever finds someone to marry her, please get pregnant and accidentally announce the fact you're pregnant at her wedding. So many narcissistic women who cannot let anyone else shine in their presence. My sister-in-law is that type of woman. I've seen her cry because she didn't get a turkey leg during Thanksgiving dinner at the ripe age of 20.